Social Security will not allow you to retire with dignity. Sorry to say it, dude. Sorry to say it's just a fact. Just a fact. Social Security will not allow you to retire with dignity. How did we not know this? How did we not know this? I'm going to share with you. So I'm doing some research. I love to research. 1995, William Shipman, Cato Institute. We need to retiring with dignity. Social Security versus private markets. We're going to dive into this because it's fun. It's fun to look back from, 30 years ago almost. And, William Shipman is a principal of State Street Global Advisors. What could possibly go wrong with putting our money in with State Street Global Advisors? Those are the people who did that fake, that girl thing that did like this, on Wall Street with the running bull. She's like, what's it called? This stupid girl thing. You know what I'm talking about. What the hell's that thing? I can't remember. And then State Street was being sued left over right. Look, just because you're sued doesn't mean you're guilty. I find it ironic. Virtue signaling they're being sued for sexual harassment. But anyway, why would you care if State Street was in charge of your money? Look, I used to believe all this crap too. Until I realized corporate America ain't all that in a bag of chips, man. I'll tell you that right now. I trust the government before I trust corporate America. So anyway, so Cato Institute, they've been big on privatizing Social Security for years, but right here, Social Security will prevent many from enjoying financial security in their later years. Remember, this was written in 1995. Why? Because benefits paid to present recipients are low. Really? Benefits paid to future recipients will be even lower. Well, Mr. Shipman, we've gone 30 years now. Benefits haven't got lower. It's kind of weird. At some point, don't you have to be right? On occasion, economist, huh? Let's see. Worse, the legal requirement to pay Social Security taxes prevents workers from investing their money in the stock market. And beyond that, the unsound financial foundation of the system virtually ensures that promised benefits, low as they are, will be reduced even further. How should we fix this? Allow people to invest their FICA contributions into assets such as stocks and bonds. History shows that financial return on these instruments meets retirement needs at a fraction of Social Security's cost. Really? Whoa! For example, assuming historical rates of return, if individuals born in 1970, that'd be your old buddy Josh, were allowed to invest in stocks the amount they currently pay in the Social Security taxes, those individuals could receive nearly 6 times the benefits they were scheduled to receive under Social Security. As much as $11,000 a month? Really? Sign me up. Even a low-wage earner could receive nearly 3 times the return on Social Security. Whoa, for real? And he talks about Social Security. It's born of the Great Depression. It is a political response to severe economic trauma. The stock market virtually imploded, dropping by 70% from 1929 to 1934. Does he not remember what he just said? He just said if individuals were born in 1970 and allowed to invest in stocks the amount they currently pay into Social Security, they could receive $11,729 a month. And literally two paragraphs later, the stock market imploded, dropping by 70% in 1929 to 1934. So you know what he does? He uses the SBBI chart from Roger Ibbotson, right, which shows from 1926 and 1993, we had a 10.3% average rate of return in stocks, and 5.6% in corporate bonds, and 5% in government bonds. Yeah, but you didn't retire in 1926 to 1993. 1951, 1963, 1971. Look at all these averages, Josh. Don't you know? Don't you know? Oh, if you only knew what was coming in the aughts. Interesting, because this right here is irrelevant. Even this is irrelevant. You could say, yes, 1961 to 1993, that's a 30-year retirement, and I'll show you why that's kind of silly. We'll go into here. We'll go into here in just a second. Let's keep going, though. I find that the average rate of return is this, that, and the other. Especially when we just said the stock market dropped by 70%. 75% of today's wage earners pay more Social Security taxes than federal income tax. So the system's supporters are numerous, heterogeneous, I guess that means they love the other sex, right? Vocal and politically powerful. They're going to cut your benefits. Supporters are numerous, vocal, politically powerful. And by and large, they do not want politicians to meddle with the system. Interesting. The Social Security's own actuaries estimate that the trust funds will be bankrupt in 2030. Well, now it's 2034, and they were saying even back in the late 1990s in 2028. However, that estimate may not indicate how soon the financial crisis will really occur. The real crisis starts not when the trust fund runs out, but when it peaks and starts to decline. At that point, the trust fund must start turning in bonds to the federal government to obtain the cash needed to finance the benefits, which is what's happening right now. But the federal government has no cash or other assets. We're still running. Are we turning? I don't know. Either way, by 2034, 2035, there won't be enough from taxes on your payroll tax to finance the Social Security benefits. So they're going to have to start going to deficits. I think they are turning their bonds down. Anyway, it doesn't matter. At that point, the trust fund must start. We already talked about it. But the federal government has no cash or other assets with to pay off those bonds. It contained the cash only by borrowing and running a bigger deficit, increasing taxes, or cutting the government spending. But those problematic responses, even if implemented, will not appreciably lessen Social Security's financial peril, for the system's flaws are more fundamental. So we're going to have to borrow, which apparently we can borrow to our heart's content for Ukraine, for woke crap. You know what I'm saying? We can borrow. Just keep borrowing, baby. There's no end to the borrowing. And the Republicans, supposedly the party of the conservatives, we're going to be deficit hawks. They want to send all kinds of money to Ukraine. It's crazy. It's great. We can borrow and send all kinds of freaking troops overseas. We can go to the South Sea of China. We can do everything. We just borrow. We don't have the cash to finance all this stuff. We can borrow to send money all over the world. It's great. Victoria Nuland can go to Africa and use her evil ways to secure the U.S. empire in Africa with money that we don't have. We just borrow. It's always weird how they always pick on Social Security. How come no one's talking about Ukraine? I wonder if the Cato Institute is in favor of Ukraine. Let's take a look here. All right, well, here's Doug Bando. Stop enabling bloodshed in Ukraine. Don't let Ukraine join NATO. That's good. All right, good stuff. So that's good. At least they're saying that. I haven't read those things, but I'm liking that. The fact they're like, let's keep going here. All right, be as it may. All right, so now we're going to go to, keep scrolling down. In 1950, there were 16 workers for every Social Security beneficiary. At present, there are 3.3, and they'll be projected to be fewer than 2 in 2030. What is that? Is that still the case? I don't know. I think it's 2.4, but be that as it may, that's all right. Payroll taxes must rise as the support benefit ratio falls. Yeah, 100%, and payroll taxes has risen. I also, like he says, in 1940, life expectancy at birth was 64, and now it's estimated at 75. Ooh, wow, we've really turned the corner there, huh? At the turn of the century, the birth rate was 3.56, and now it's 2.0. Yeah, so we don't have enough people. I mean, literally, we're going to have to raise taxes on payroll tax. There's no two ways around that. You got to do that. I got no qualm with that. You should do that, 100%. And don't just say, just raise it, get rid of the cap. I mean, you can do that. That's stupid. That's not going to do anything. Everyone has got to pay more taxes for Social Security. Everybody. It's just a fact. 50 basis points to you, 50 basis points to your employer. So 1% increase in payroll taxes is going to have to get done, dude. There's no other way around that, and we should do it for sure. If you want to raise the cap, it's fine too. I mean, you're hurting entrepreneurs like me, but hey, I get it. That's, how dare I make more money than everybody else? And as I talk about my book, you can retire on Social Security. Here's a tax in 1937. I don't know why he's got 10.52 here. I don't know what that's about. But anyway, it's much higher today than it was in 1937. 6.2 to you, 6.2 to your employer. Back then, it's 1% to you, 1% to your employer. So it's gone up by hundreds of percent, the taxes have. So this idea that there's not enough people paying for it, there's not. We have too few workers out there. We don't have enough babies being born. But their taxes have gone up. In fact, I'm going to show you some here, what he talks about. Even adjusting for inflation, the maximum tax increase has increased almost by 900% from 1951 to the present. During the same period, Social Security benefits also increased, but substantially less. The benefit increased by about 188%, while taxes went up by 900%. Again, the idea they're going to cut your Social Security benefits, my friends, are you freaking nuts? How much are people paying in taxes? That is an entitlement. They're not going to cut your benefits. They pay more in Social Security tax, the vast majority of people, than they do federal income tax. Taxes have gone up. The benefits have gone up, not nearly the same as the taxes. Taxes haven't gone up for Social Security since 1993. We need a raise in taxes 100%. We don't need an increase in retirement age. We need a raise in taxes. Unequivocally, yes, sir. Now, that's not debatable, in my opinion. On top of that, though, the tax rates have gone up so much since back in the old days and how much you paid for it that people aren't just going to say, yeah, take away my benefits, no big deal. It's not going to happen. Crazy. All right, let's keep going. Stock and bond returns that he uses are actually those from 1951 to 1993. Nominal returns thereafter assumed to be 7% for bonds and 10% for stocks, respectively. At retirement, portfolios are used to purchase annuities, increasing at 4% a year and certain until age 80. It's like the national retirement risk people at Boston College. Just get buy an inflation-adjusted annuity, no big deal. Just gonna get 7% on bonds, 10% on stocks on your money, no big deal. Dude, come on, man. He says, we'll discuss the reasonableness of these assumptions later. Oh, it's so dumb, man. I'm like, yeah, no, you buy an inflation annuity. Good luck with that. From 1951, the payroll tax has not been stable. It has increased 17 times. It hasn't increased since 1993. We need to increase the payroll tax. Not counting cost of living adjustments, the maximum covered earnings has risen by 5 times. And I'm just telling you, you're going to keep rising it. As most recently, benefits have been cut by all sorts of tax code formulas, as well as raising the retirement age. Yeah, 100%. I mean, they've increased the taxes on benefits, and they haven't indexed the bend points for inflation. This is just a fact, man. And the bend points, I'm not talking about the 90%, 32, and 15%. I'm actually talking about, the first $1,100, you get 90% of that. I'm talking about the amount of Social Security that's subject to taxation. So your Social Security hasn't changed since 1983, how much your benefits is subject to taxation. It's nuts. So it used to be in the old days, your provisional income is where I'm going. So it used to be in the old days, if you had, if you're single, 25,000. If you had under 25,000 of provisional income, none of your Social Security benefits subject to taxation. If you had 25 to 34,000, 50% of your Social Security benefits subject to taxation, and anything above 34,000 was subject to tax. 85% of that subject to taxation. But it didn't even have the 85% until 1993. So from 1983, is 0 to 25, and 25 and above is 50%. And then they added the third threshold there in 1993, but they haven't adjusted those numbers. So, I mean, literally, if you're a single in 1983 with 25,000, you were freaking doing great. A single today in 2023 at 25,000, you're poor. I mean, it's insane they haven't done that. So they have increased, or they have reduced your total Social Security benefit because of that, and they did it sneakily, man. So I agree with that. Raising the full retirement age, it hasn't been much, dude. It went from 65 to 67. I mean, what to do? Social Security currently accounts for nearly half of all retirement benefits. More than half of the elderly receive no private pension. Wait, this is in 1995. I thought everybody received pensions. And more than 1/3 have no income from assets. Now, he's using data set from the Census Current Population Survey, which is wrong. We've known that. We've known that for a while now. But be that as may, a lot of people get a bulk of their income from, or a lot of their income from Social Security. I will. So again, we're going to cut benefits. Why? Because clearly, millions of people rely on Social Security to provide for their retirement. Therefore, the increasingly poor return on Social Security means that many elderly Americans will find their financial security at greater and greater risk. The dream of retiring with financial dignity will have been stolen from them. I talked about here how we invest in the stock market, Japanese equities. That kind of cracked me up right there. And he shows, I'm going to show you some here. He's about we can go into Japanese equities. And I said, oh boy, how ironic was that? Because I think we got the Japanese markets. Yeah, back then the Japanese market was the second highest market by far in the world. Look at that. China is even on here, man. There's Hong Kong. The Japanese market was, not quite spitting distance of us, but, closing in on the U.S. Now with the Japanese market right now the Japanese market will fall to 5th in the world in 2023, losing to New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ Exchange, and Shanghai, and Euro next. So the Japanese market back then was number 2, and now it's 5th, losing to Shanghai, China. Isn't that crazy? So, yeah, you can invest in the Japanese market. By all means, do so there, guy. I'd rather not. But focusing on American market actually understates opportunities. For the U.S. market is only one of many. U.S. equities account for less than 40% of the value of all equities in the world. Investments exist well beyond our shores and you can take advantage of that. By comparing returns, standard deviation, portfolios can be designed to increase total returns while reducing risk by going into foreign markets. And ironically, the U.S. is still 42% of the entire stock market, and here we had U.S. at 39%. So, okay, so we can go in foreign markets and increase returns and reduce risk. Okay, SSGA, and I think I just have that's it. So I just find it funny that, did we got a conclusion down here about retirement dignity? I guess I already did that one. So Social Security right here doesn't let you retire with dignity. It's so stupid, man. Check this out. So I just did a Vanguard Balance Fund right here, the Vanguard Balance Index Fund. I started in 1995 when the guy wrote the article till the end of 2009. And we put $100,000 in there. We're taking 5% a year out. We're adjusting for inflation. And you can see we dropped to $100,000, went up from 1995 to 2000. Then it went down to 154. Then it got skunked right there. And so we end up with 186. All right. So after 15 years, yeah, we're still making money. That's a pretty wild ride, though, my friends. Pretty wild ride. How many of you guys would have sat tight right there or right there? Very few of us. It's one thing if you're working. It's a whole different thing if you're retired. That's what I'm saying right now. So you say, oh, but I wouldn't have done that. I would have done something else. What have you done? Government bonds. So let's do Vanguard intermediate term bond index, VBIXX. There we go. Click on that guy. But so I would have done government bonds instead. Let's see. How would we be sitting there? Right. You'd be at 100 and you've gone to 141. You have basically made hardly any money. Now, you're still getting your 5% a year, but that's a lot easier to deal with than what we just saw. I would have gone to stocks, Josh. I would have gone to stocks, VFINX, the S&P 500. Let's see how you shook out there. Again, we're starting 1995, so you got kind of lucky in your start date. Ooh. We're back at 207 after getting skunked and skunked. Now, we've had a huge run these last 10 years or so, but the issue is those huge runs, they go away and they get hit with huge losses too. And going back to 1970, or 70% down from 1929 to 1934. How much did the bond market do from 1948 to 1968? It didn't do anything either. So if 50% of your portfolio is in bonds during that time, you're in a world of hurt, dude. It's just a fact, man. You were in a world of hurt because they did nothing. Stocks took off like a bat out of hell. So if you happen to choose wrong, or what if you bought Japanese stocks? I'm not sure how far the Nikkei goes back. Let's see if I can even find a Nikkei portfolio. I don't know what it would be. N-I-K-K-E-I. Does it give us anything? Yeah, it's not going to go back far enough. Anyway, so yeah, you could have said, no, I'm choosing Japan. I'm choosing Japan in 1995. Your goose is cooked. I'm choosing bonds in 1948. Your goose is cooked. I'm choosing large cap growth stocks in 1999. Your goose is cooked. I'm choosing international stocks in 2010. Your goose is cooked. I'm choosing gold in 2010. Your goose is cooked. If you choose wrong, you're done. If you choose right, you're loving life. That's a gamble. That's luck. Social Security takes away the luck and it gives you the dignity. You don't have to be lucky or unlucky. You can just be comfortable and you do have dignity. These articles are so stupid. That was from 1995. 1995. We're not privatizing Social Security. They're not cutting the benefits of Social Security. Social Security allows you to retire with dignity no matter what these guys say. How do we know? Because we survey people. And every single time we do surveys, 70 to 80% of the people said they are comfortable in retirement. They have dignity. 2 people today I talked to, not one, not two people. Both are going to retire. The vast majority of their income comes from Social Security, and they're happy as a clam. One's got a mortgage, one does not. Both are getting out the crap little jobs. They're old white guys like, I can't, this whole DEI stuff is stupid. I can't take the purple hair idiots anymore with their, 57 flavors. And, you don't know what you're doing mechanically. Let me tell you. It's like, And they're like, dude, I'm done. Adios, as we say in Espanol. You can retire with dignity on Social Security. What are they going to do? They're going to have to raise the payroll tax 100%, raise the payroll tax, a wealth tax on endowments, a wealth tax on foundations, a wealth tax on universities, make universities pay, foundations, churches, all that stuff. A wealth tax, 100%, man. A wealth tax to fund Social Security, make universities, nonprofits pay property taxes. Enough of this nonprofit crap. Nonprofit is not an honorable thing. Honorable thing is to be profitable, so you can pay tax on your profits. That's the honor. Be a capitalist, an entrepreneur. Ain't no honor in being nonprofit because you know you're making all the money. You're just declaring as income, so you don't have to pay profits. So you don't have to pay tax, and you got to pay income. I get you, but you don't have to pay a tax to the corporation because you're nonprofit. Yeah, screw that. All right, love your thoughts. Don't forget, 3 hours. My man Craig Israelson will be joining us. Love to see you there live.